So I hope you find the solution by yourself. If not, don't worry, I'm going to show you so you can understand and your eyes will be trained to this type of errors. So let's look at our if statement once more. So we are checking if our tips amount label.text is not empty string, and we are checking if our employees text field.text is not equal to empty string. So what's the problem here is actually our left side here, which is tips amount label. And if you look at our application here that is running, we have two text fields, both of them have value, but our label currently, which is not even visible, it doesn't have any value. And here we are checking if our label has a text. This is our problem. We have to check if our employees and tips text fields have text instead of our label if it has text. So if I copy this and paste it here, so if my tips text field has a text and I run my code, this is going to fix our error. So basically our variable names are very close to each other. One is the text field, one is label. That's why we used the autofill here and Xcode just gave us the wrong one. So if I say 1 and 2 here and I click calculate, it says valid input because my tips text field and employees text field both have a value. Let's look into a OR operator. What OR operator means is if this one or this one is true, if one of these two options is true, our valid input will be called. So let's try this. What we are going to do is to put a number, to put some kind of input in only amount of tips. If I'm going to click on calculate, and this will say valid input because this part was true, even though the other part on the right part was false. So this didn't evaluate. One of them was true. Same way I can put on the other, and if I click calculate, it will tell me that it's valid because now this part is true, this part is false. So if the OR means this or this, while and means that this and this should be true. So if I put both of them with values, again it's going to say valid input because one of them is true. In our case, both of them is true, which is perfectly fine. But if I don't put anything, it's going to say invalid input because none of the operators here is true. You can put as many and ors you want here. So I can put like another or something else here. For example, a1 plus 1 equals 2. So if I do this, because this is going to be true every time, because 1 plus 1 is equal to 2, it no matters what I will put in my text fields. Let's see what's the problem here. Okay, we cannot do this because we need to check. We cannot say that it equals. We are going to check if this is equals. So let's run. And now if I don't put anything and if I click, it's going to say valid input because one of these three is true, because 1 plus 1 is always 2 and this part is correct. So this is our AND OR operators. So for our code here, for our application, we need both of them to be true. So we use our AND operator here. So instead of printing, what I want to do is to call my calculate tips function. So let's say calculate tips, and we're going to pass our values here. So the tips amount is double. Because we are receiving the tips amount as a string here, we are going to convert it to the double, and the number of employees is again string, and we're going to convert this to an integer. So what I'm going to do is we can do this in two separate ways. First, if we create a constant here, let double tips is equals, and we say double, and then we pass our text field dot text. And remember, we need to unwrap this because this may be an empty string, but now that we are checking it's not empty, we can unwrap this. And then we can also say let int employees is equals, and we are calling our integer, and we are passing our employees text field dot text, and we are going to unwrap it as well. So right now we can take our int employees and pass as an integer here, and we can take our double tips and pass it to our function as well. But what we need to do here is to say that these are unwrapped, because we are sure that we are going to receive a value. Let me say Command B to build my project in order to get rid of these temporary errors, because Xcode compiler didn't understand what we are going to do there, so it was giving us errors. So this is one way to do this, or we can shorten this. So I can take this part here and I can just pass as my tips amount, and we take it and convert it straight away to a double, and same we are going to do with our integer. So we take our value and convert it to an integer straight away, so we don't have to write an extra lines of code. So let's run our application, and now we can actually use our tip calculator in order to find out how many dollars each of our employee should receive. So imagine we made $547 of tips, and there were 5 employees working that evening. And if I calculate, it says that tips per person is going to be $109.4. So it's $109.40 here. If we were making like 321 and we had 5 employees, each one would receive $64.20. So this is a simple application using a tip calculator, and also we had a chance to use our AND OR statement for our inside our if statement, and doing a short version of our converting and passing information to our class functions.